Welcome back. We're here with Paul, who will tell us today something about key packages and why we want them, why we need them, and what they are, I guess. I hope so. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Well, just like the previous talk, I hope this to be more of a discussion, but just like the previous talk, I'll also give a short introduction. So I'm a member of the release team, and one of the tools that we have is a key package set definition, and they work, but I'd like to have some changes, and that's what this BOF or discussion is about. So very briefly, what do I put in this session? I'll explain what the key packages are, what the problem is that I'm currently experiencing, or that we as a project are experiencing. And I have some ideas of possible improvements, and I'd like to share them with you, see what you think about it, and maybe you have great, awesome ideas that I can implement after we release, not next week. So what are key packages? We actually have on our website, we have since last year, we describe what they are. Briefly, if you want to run Debian, you need to have a couple of packages installed, otherwise you don't have a running system. We call those key packages, but of course to build those key packages you need other source. Those are also key packages. Of course these have dependencies. We add them to the key package set. All of these have maybe these source packages of these binaries have other binaries. We add their dependencies too. And we do this recursively until we have a full set. That's what we currently call key packages. And the most important use of key packages is that we use them to determine which packages are eligible for auto removal when they have RC bugs. Which means that if you have a package that is in the key package set, we don't remove it. If it's outside, we can remove it if an RC bug is filed. There's scripts, there are links to the script. You can check everything. It's written in Perl. I threatened to remove all the packages when I tried to fix Perl. It's not my language, I guess. You all got emails, right? Anyway, the problem that we have is that RC bugs in key packages don't get the attention that all the other RC bugs get. And that's because hardly anybody knows about these bugs, because you don't get emails threatening to remove your package, so you don't need to fix it because it doesn't bother you. So from our point of view, we like to have the key package set as small as we can get it for the release process. It's not, I don't like removing packages, so I don't do that just because I like it. It's a tool for us to get the right attention to RC bugs. If RC bugs are fixed, that's fine. If they're not fixed, we remove it from the archive, and the next stable release doesn't have the RC bug. That's fine by me as a release manager. Just as an example how this set is too big, last year we had in a nice GUI that did periodic system viewing that had an RC bug. It wasn't removed because it was a key package. I wonder why. Another flavor where, well, I'm not saying that this is a problem, but nearly every package builds documentation, which means that the tools to build documentations are also key. And from a working point of view, I wonder if that is the right choice. It's in the current set, so that's that. So I've been thinking about this problem quite a bit. Actually, we have been, when we try to evaluate what to do with bugs in our in key packages, we are already looking at a lot of different classes of key packages. One of the things that I really want to implement soon is to actually, for key packages that have their build dependencies properly annotated with the not no check build profile, to remove those build dependencies from the key package set. We have used this trick already a couple of times during the bookworm preparation to remove stuff that didn't get fixed by manually cut it at that level, or at least threatening, which was enough. And what I wanted to say, of course, when I remove a build dependencies, we break the promise to our users that they can build software. If the bug really isn't fixed, obviously the source that builds the binaries can be fixed to not run the test when building. So that's like, it's obviously how we can fix it. And even if we don't fix it, it's like, yes, you cannot build the binary without the right option, but if you classify the build profile, you actually get the binaries as you would always get. So I think for this purpose, it's sort of defendable to treat it like this. Another problematic location in the key package set are the task cell packages, because basically the maintainer of task cell defines what is key for the purpose of me or for the release. So I think I want to strip out task cell as from that set, and that the release team defines which things we consider key. Also there, the solution is if it really becomes a problem, we'll just need to update the task cell package to remove that part which is problematic after we auto-remove it. Because, of course, task cell needs to work for the Debian installer. Because it would be very stupid if the Debian installer says, well, click this button to get this, and then says, well, can't install because the dependencies aren't there. Of course, one of the big things of task cell is actually that it has a task for most of the desktops in Debian, which means GNOME, KDE, and all the other flavors, which are all key now. So we need to decide, well, do we fix one, or do we say, which is my preference, we need one of these 3 or 4 or 5? Again, this is all about the ability to have auto-removal to expose RC bugs. Hopefully it will not get removed. I mean, obviously if GNOME has a RC bug, gets auto-removed, we'll try to find ways to get it back, but it's about the exposure of the RC bugs. Then slightly uglier option. I wrote it down here for a bit of completeness because it was in my mind. You could also, when you're looking at source packages that are a key package because one of their binaries is needed, then the other binaries I could treat as not key, so I don't need to add their dependencies, but then these dependencies are not installable, which is really rather ugly. Now that's my last line that I had. So is there anybody that has a comment, a better idea, thinks this is rubbish, or I should actually add more stuff to the key package set for whatever weird reason? Where's your flavor proposal?
I was about to ask whether I may hijack your session to do this flavor thing. Yeah, I should. So we've been talking about adding flavors to packages, and that can take a multitude of forms. Who knows that CDBS supports flavors? One. Great. Build profiles are kind of a flavor. In principle, one could partition the binary packages of source packages using build profiles and build it multiple times, thus splitting it. Then we had a lot of ideas on having source package dependencies. In other words, a build dependency from one source package on the source of another, which would enable having a second source package that would reuse the source and just build different binary packages from them. Is there anything, who would have liked to use such a feature in the past? Like partitioning your source package into multiple independent builds. Nobody uses that. Okay. So, and once we do that, we can remove one of those partitioned builds and its build dependencies from the key package, but not the others.
Yeah, so for the clarity of the people that don't get the bottom line of that idea, I guess it's very similar to build profiles, except it has a particular property that's currently not guaranteed by build profiles, is that if you switch a build profile, most build profiles are not guaranteed to give you the same binary package, which this flavor idea would.
Just to understand that, so you could partition your build into as normal binary packages plus the Docker package. Is that what you mean?
That would be one way to do it. You could also have your GCC package. So you could also partition your GCC package build into the Mipson source package and the doc source package, and all using the same source tar, while still being 3 independent builds and only one of them being key.
Oh, sorry, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my concern with this proposal is, well, at least with the no check proposal, is the broken promise of, like, do we stop doing build time checks on key packages? That sounds very backwards. This is something that we would want more of, not less of. So I don't know how we, like, do we have a superset of the packages that are not in testing but are still important for checking key packages? Like a tier list of packages?
I don't understand. I don't think I understand what you mean, but you mean by removing the top part?
Yeah, so if you remove one of the packages that happens to be a check dependency of a key package,
Yes.
what happens?
Well, if the auto removal happens, then at that moment you're not able to build that source package in testing. That currently also happens for other reasons, so that's not a situation that's unique. It's not something that the archive tools currently guarantee, that you can always build all the source packages in testing. I've been monitoring them. I mean, there's a QA page from those that tells you which sources we cannot build in a certain suite. Obviously, that's a situation that around the time of the release you need to have fixed if you want to have the promise fulfilled. So, as I said, the above line you can fulfill in two ways. It's either fix the source that has that build dependencies and remove it, or build with this profile, which of course the infrastructure doesn't do.
I'm a little concerned about no check.
No.
I don't need yours. I have mine. One thing I wanted to add to your idea with the build flavors, which I think hasn't been quite clear, which is rather important, is that build profiles do not guarantee that the package set is disjunct. So you can have build profiles who actually build the same packages, and your idea doesn't, and that makes it a neat partition and makes this whole key package separation thing possible.
Okay, back to concerns with no check. How do you intend to guarantee that no check actually works? I know that packages ship test results in their binary packages, so enabling no check makes them non-reproducible, and I think the reproducible builds guys rejected no check as a variation, so we actually don't have good data on that. And we also have quite a number of FTBFS with no checkbox, because people attack their dependencies with no check without checking that it actually builds that way. And I've encountered way too many bugs of that sort. Do you have any plan on making no check sufficiently good for that task?
Well, some people in this room run QA stuff, and
Who?
I told them to file these bugs as RC. I already told you to not file these bugs as RC before the release, but after the release, go ahead.
Yeah, but if I'm the only one,
Yeah. So there's a class of bugs in packages that we only find by QA. I mean, the last release, the last months, we've seen, I think, several tens of bugs that were just filed by PO parts and doing all kind of QA and weird things and saying, well, this is a bug. Nobody found it before, but if you look at it in a special way, you find them. And the same applies here. I mean, there's a lot that we don't guarantee beforehand. We upload, we ship, and we check afterwards if we actually meet these things. So I don't think I have to solve it beforehand to use it. Just say that this is how I'm going to use it. That means that it becomes RC if it actually doesn't work. But yes, maybe I remove too much. That becomes then a problem that we need to solve.
Without rating the items on the list, to me they all seem like a way of working around the real issue, which is this: people don't get notified if they have an RC bug in their key package. So maybe the solution is rather, okay, how can we notify people that say every time you get an RC bug, you get the same email as an auto removal, and more prominent, let's say, show it more prominently on the Debian pages.
So there's two things. One thing that I think automatic auto removal gets you automatically is the notification of all the reverse dependencies. But of course, your comment is valid there. You could inform all the reverse dependencies to actually say, hey, that your dependency has a RC bug. But I also experienced that the auto removal or the threat of auto removal is extremely powerful in actually getting the bug fixed. Because just telling that there's a bug, experience learns that that doesn't mean that things get fixed. So it's really the stick here that I have. But when I sent those 8,000 emails earlier this year or at the end of last year, suddenly 10 RC bugs in key packages were fixed that day. So really the threat of auto removal works. Oh. I have 1 more minute, so if the question is short, we could do it. Another.
Yeah, only 2 questions. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Only 2 questions. The first question is how many packages we are talking about, and to make an example, how many packages will be involved if you removed Taxel?
So at the moment, I think there's not a lot involved. So for TaskCell, I don't think it's a problem at this moment. But I had to chase a bit more on those bugs or figure things out manually myself. So that was just an effort to figure out how to solve situations where there were RC bugs. I've requested some people to change their source package to allow me to remove something, but that was all manual tasks. And that's work. You need to figure it out, and I try to automate that in this way. So that's the trade between a computer doing the work or a human doing the work, and we all know how we consider that trade to be made typically. The amount of packages, I don't have an answer to that. It's a couple of thousand that are in the key package set.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. And we'll be back in 10 minutes with Paul.
Oh.
See you after coffee break. And
Yeah.
thanks.
And thank you for the contribution.